What is up, guys? Bit of an impromptu stream here, but I'm bored and I got some new Godzilla figures. And there goes the merchandise. But yeah, I got some new Godzilla figures in. Super 7 figure right here. We got that guy. And then one of the new Bandai figures that came out. The Godzilla Monster series. These guys are new, relatively new, I think. They're starting to pop up. So I'm just gonna do a bit of a live unboxing here. See if anybody shows up, and just see where the night takes us. Mm. So I just got off work a little while ago, and stopped by my local Target actually, and was surprised by the shocking amount of new stuff they had for Godzilla. Um, just like the figures I just showed off right now. They had a few of the new ones that I guess you would find like just on like any shopping site, like maybe the Godzilla store or Entertainment Earth, um, Big Bad Toy Store, stuff like that. I know some of these might be popping up on the Godzilla store. Um, not too long ago. Like I'm not sure how new these guys are. They're new in terms of how often I go to my Target and just see stuff on the shelves. Um, so basically, it was a little bit of a shock to me to find those there because like the common thing would be like, oh, the new Godzilla Kong toys that I see um still there and still pretty strong. Just because uh the movie's still relatively new. They just released the Wave 2 lines. So far I've only seen a few of the Wave 2 Godzilla Kong figures come out there. Like I've seen the Energized Godzilla and the um Energized Godzilla and the Kong with the axe. I've seen those guys at the Target, and most of their stuff is just stocks of like Scar King, Godzilla Evolved, and Kong with Beast Glove. I've seen a few of the Shimos there, a few of the Suko and Dugs, but those are few and far between with any given release there. I'm just gonna post on my. I'm terrible at marketing my streams just because I'm so new to it. Mhm. Alright, should we pop the link there? And then maybe I'll send it to the chats. This is also the first time I've done like a full-on webcam. Other than any of my other interviews, which if you guys have probably seen, I've done interviews with several members of the behind-the-scenes cast and crew of Godzilla 98. I'm in the talks to doing some more stuff. Probably some more general stuff with some of those same people. Um, Probably won't be for a while, but there's a lot of stuff in the works that I am currently planning on doing. So far, I'm talking to one guy, a good friend of mine, and we're just gonna see if we can schedule something to where he can come on and basically just set up kind of an interview, a bit more of general stuff since a lot of the start of my stuff has been Godzilla 98 focused, which I don't think is going anywhere from the channel. But I am sort of broadening my scopes of general Godzilla, general kaiju stuff. Um, and so far we're just going to uh broaden horizons, I guess. But like I said, we've got some Godzilla figures here. Um, I will see if there's anyone else in the audience starts to grow. And that way we can just see if we can do it live. If anyone has questions about these two figures, um, this is the new Bandai Monster series that I've seen around Twitter. Basically, it's these new figures here that we got: Godzilla 1954 and the Showa Mechagodzilla. What does it say there? 74. And I saw that one there too. Um, I think Kaiju Canuck actually just released a video saying about how there is so much stuff of Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. Like every single line and company is just shitting out Godzilla and Mechagodzilla stuff. Whether it be like Millennium, Heisei, Showa, like you saw right now. Um, it is all Godzilla, Mechagodzilla focus, which, you know, for the most part, yeah, like those are probably the most recognizable characters. Um, I personally would love to see more variety. Um, which I mean, I guess they're playing it safe just because, um, bank on the most profitable name. But I think Bandai, yeah, has been pumping out like a bunch of underseen characters like Baragon, no, Varan wasn't one, but Gorosaurus and Baragon. Those were two releases that are pretty underground and niche to the general community. Like, of course, people are gonna bank on Mechagodzilla and Godzilla, but like every box I have today, Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and then right here, Godzilla, Mechagodzilla. It's all Godzilla, Mechagodzilla. Um, so hopefully, if these lines are successful, which I want to say they might be, we might see more characters in this style. And I also did this as a sort of like gonna see what figure I think is the best. Only in if you guys have watched my what makes a great kaiju figure video on my channel, go check it out. It's basically what my standards are for what makes a great kaiju figure. And when it comes to figures like these, I just want to see what I think makes a good action figure. Which like the three categories I have are for likeness, playability, and I forget the third one. I don't even know my own standards, but I'll probably have to rewatch my own video just to see that. Uh, but I might unbox this one first here since it seems this one's probably going to be the easiest to get here. I'll just get some clippers here and get them out because I'm really looking forward to this guy because I love vinyl figures and soft vinyl figures, like the Sofubi style kind of figures there, which are pretty, I wouldn't say common, commonly known, not as commonly collected. Um, like you might find what 5 out of 10 kaiju collectors have at least one Sofubi Godzilla, which would be true for me because I have one like Sofubi Godzilla that I got up somewhere up there. I might bring it down just to show you, just to compare. But actually, this is good. This is a good figure to compare because I have this guy. This guy's like a 4 to 5 inch scale figure. I'm basically here for the camera. Godzilla 1954, very recognizable face, very recognizable build. The mold, I want to say, I think they have a new mold for this guy. That they did for movie monster series, which is perfect because while I have this guy here, I might just go ahead and grab probably I probably know the bag. It's in. I recently picked up what you might have seen in my short. Basically, we have here the movie Monster Series figure right there, and then here we have the smaller monster Godzilla Monster Series 54. Um, this guy here is much smaller. I guess, funny enough, I think this guy has better paint than this guy. Not that this guy isn't badly painted, but there's not like much going for him. Like he's mostly just gray with more variants of gray and then some white. He has a weird white spot on his head. It's really showing up on camera there from the looks of it, but in person it's just as noticeable. But this guy here is much better painted only because the paint makes more sense. There's no like white spots. The brows of his eyes, I think, are a different color. No, I think the way the shape of the plastic is just makes it appear lighter, or it stands out more than the rest of his body because it catches more light thanks to the grooves. But basically, here we have the Godzilla Monster Series there, and you can just see how much smaller he is compared to the standard movie Monster Series. Which I picked this guy up at my shop, um, since Box Lunch is starting to grab more movie Monster Series figures, surprisingly. And I got this guy, very good deal. Um, and then here we have the Monster Series, which I just got at Target, which I think generally they started coming out at Target more, maybe even Walmart. But I found these at Target and in a pretty good. I want to say there's like four, two of each, four in total. Um, for Godzilla and Mechagodzilla there, which are the only guys in the line. Which I don't know if they have more in stock, or that's just all they get. Because working retail, you tend to know what people are going to get and how much of what. But you just never know how much you're gonna get and how much stock any store will have. Um, there you go, one last comparison, and then that'll be it for the first unboxing. There, I see some viewers coming and going. Hopefully, they got a good look at the figures we got here. And that's first one down. And then when it comes to vinyl figures, I think they're pretty cool. Um, with most figures, something I see a lot, which I always found was weird, I guess kind of with figures in general, but also with vinyl figures is articulation. The general consensus I get from watching most videos is people want more articulation, which I find weird. For a figure, soft vinyl figure like this, I don't think we have to ask much in terms of the posability or the articulation. Because for what it is, I think for any figure, like it only needs so much. Um, like I'm not mad that this doesn't have the head articulation. Funny enough, neither does the movie Monster Series. Like this guy doesn't have head swivel, which I can take or leave it. Um, arms can move, feet can a tail move? No, tail is fixed. I think most are. Um, yeah, I never saw articulation as anything that is like a necessity. Like I'm a fan of figures that are basically a solid block. Um, but they also have to have a good pose. Like this guy's just like a basic standing pose, neutral. I like figures that have a bit of a pose to them, just because when you're holding them, fidgeting, or even just playing with them, it feels more alive and like you can do more with them. Like I guess with the articulation, if you can make the own poses, but like even then, it's gonna be a little bit of awkward because they'll only ever kick, they'll only ever go up and down and wave, you know. So if you can get a good pose in, it doesn't need all the articulation in the world. Like, and then that can also lead to some weird designs because if anyone's seen the SH Monster Arts Shimu, um, or Shimo, the shoulders on that thing are ugly in my opinion. Like, I do not like the look of the shoulders because it's all jumbled together mess. Like I could barely tell what's going on there, and so um, it's just a matter of what do you need, you know. I don't mind. And then when it comes to articulation, the next figure, um, I don't know what order I'm going to do this in. I'll just go with this guy. But this is one of the newer ones. It came out a while ago. It is the let's see, Godzilla 2004 action figure. Basically, these guys came out a while ago, so it's not the newest one we have here. But I remember there's a bit of a. I think people were generally excited to see this. Um, I want to say I also saw some people who were hesitant just because of the look of the figure. Um, they don't look like your typical maybe higher price figures because this guy was like 20 something bucks, I want to say. And for a 20-buck figure, I think it might be worth it just looking up the box. Like, as it comes with a beam, you have the figure there, and then it looks like the tails is gonna assemble, which typical with Godzilla figures. And with this one, again, you had the Kiryu, which Target also had Kiryu. I wanted to get them, but money, money, a lot of money, and I wanted to get three main Godzilla figures just to compare and show them off here today. So basically, I'm just gonna pop these open and just see if we can get our first comparison in because obviously the soft vinyl figures are not action figures. Action figures, like I would say, is anything that is more articulated than the typical figure. Uh, rougher, sturdier plastic in the sense that it's something that you typically don't expect to break on any sort of impact. Um, since most are geared towards kids, and they're meant for like action play, having a sturdier figure is always going to be good. Um, my gosh, I hate tape, but yeah, I mean, they seem. The thing with that is, I don't like overly glossy figures. This one seems pretty glossy. I've never held it. I don't think I've even watched that many reviews if anyone's reviewed it. Probably should have, but I'm going into this a little blind. I've only seen a few pictures online, and I'm basically just, winging it. Like I just saw these figures, picked them up. I wanted to do do a video, like a series of unboxings, but I was a little too impatient. Like I always am with figures, and so I'm just gonna basically. I said going live would be fun. See if I can get any viewers in on this. That way I can just quickly, show you guys. We got this figure here we're unboxing, Godzilla Final Wars, which honestly isn't my favorite design. Not one that I like very much. Don't know if that's a hot take. Mostly the spines and the face I do not like. Um, they seem spines are okay, maybe a little on the smaller side. Um, but basically it's just a matter of the face. It looks cat-like. Like I think they were going for wolf. Mm. The face on this actually doesn't look that bad. Um, yeah, one thing I do not like on my Godzillas is a droopy snout, and um, a lot of the outside of 2000, a lot of the Heisei, no, Millennium Godzillas have some droopy snouts. Final Wars from a certain angle has a droopy snout. Yeah, I do not want this to be a blow dryer thing. I don't have a blow dryer. Come on, Jet. How are we at here? There you go. Got it in. And this is not the blow dryer, Jet. You know what? Not too bad. I'm feeling it now. It feels pretty hefty, which I like in figures as well. If there's a nice heft to them. Ouch. You're not a real Godzilla collector if you've never been hurt by the spines while trying to pop in a joint. You're also not a real Godzilla figure collector if you never had a, a limb pop off while trying to pop in a limb. Mm, I take it back. This is pretty bad. Oh, I'm definitely not scared of breaking it because it feels sturdier than that. But there's a smidge of fear just because I don't know so much about this. But I gotta find the foot. See if I can pop the tail back in the meantime. Base tail is not actually too hard to pop in. And this guy's feeling pretty cool. I love to smell my figures just to get that new plastic smell in. Not that strong of a smell. Sneak test. That's what you always gotta do. There we go. Yeah. All right. So we got this guy 90% done. And here we basically have Godzilla 2004. I was 2 years old at the time when Final Wars came out. This still scared me. Nice joint. No problem. There you go. There you go. We have the new Final Wars Godzilla here. And honestly, not too shabby. Likeness is good. The feel is good. Playability, pretty much there. I also really like the scale of this figure. And no shame. Obviously better than the Playmate stuff. I think this blows any Playmates Godzilla out of the water. And I say Godzilla specifically because I do not like the Godzilla sculpts or basically any Godzilla figure from the Playmates line. GVK, GXK, I think their Godzillas were way lower quality than any of their Kong, Scar Kings, or anything there. I mean, for $10 more, I think you can get this for $10. Like figures used to be good, you know? Like you can say economy or stuff like that, but I don't think it's that much money you need to make a good sculpt. I don't think it's that much. If you're like a big company, I don't think it's that much money to really get like at least decent material. Um, I mean, if Playmates can make the Kong in like a very nice, sturdy, good feel material, they can get their Godzillas in the same material. Um, so I don't know what they're doing there, but going back to this figure, it looks very glossy on camera, and in person, I'd say it's just as glossy, but it's not too much of an eyesore, I guess, because like I'm just fidgeting around, and I'm the kind of guy who like actually plays with his figures. Um, that's why I like action figures more than like higher end collectibles or even Sofubi, just because I'm a very physical guy. Like I'm into like I can learn physically faster, like by actually doing something like if I learn a new activity and I like physically act it out, I can learn way quicker. I'm a visual learner, so I like seeing things visually play out in a physical way, and I love fidgeting with like stuff like this. Um, Whenever I imagine a story, I'm just like a kid when you're playing with your action figures, making up the story. I like to have something physical in my hand to fidget with, um, and in my head, like Avengers Endgame is playing or Godzilla Final Wars is playing, and I'm just pretending making the story as I go along. Obviously, I'll still write something out, and basically fantasize in my head about a story. But oftentimes when I do that, I like to have a figure to visualize what's going on. And this is the kind of figure I think will best bring that out in me. Um, if I just want to have like a story where I visualize what's gonna happen. I also like figures that have sound to them. So like I don't know if the camera can pick this up. Like you can hear the socket or the ratchet joint. I don't think it is a ratchet joint. When I saw it, it was just like a little peg with like some spaces. But it makes sound. Swivel. I think it's a ball joint. Simple. I kind of don't like it when mouths have like the smallest like mouth movement. Like what is that? 2 centimeters, give or take. But basically, there you go. You have 2,000 Godzillas. I'm pretty impressed. Like seeing the pictures, it looked cheap, but it doesn't feel cheap. And I think that's what can make a great figure if it just like feels awesome in your hands. And you know what? Like with most things, I think if something can have flaws, it can still something can still be good in spite of its flaws. Like I don't like I said, droopy is snouch. It's not as droopy, but overall likeness of the design. It has a Snoopy droopy snout, but in spite of it, I think it's an awesome figure. I think it's well worth the $24 I got for it. Um, like I say 24, I'm pretty sure it was 24. That's one thing. Never pay retail, wink wink. But pay retail prices when they're good. Like I I'll break it. I don't think it'll break, but I'm just so strong that I might break this figure. Mm. Does it come with instructions? Nope. But here's the atomic breath piece. I'll show you at least. But here we have this here. It comes with a switchable mouth. You might don't know how to switch out the mouth. This is where a Shinra Jira video will come in handy. Yeah, maybe I'll figure it out for the review video that I might be doing later on. But there's that figure. And now let's compare it to this one. A bit closer in size than this to a movie monster series figure. Um, but overall, this guy's definitely bigger, a little heftier, a lot heftier since this guy's practically hollow. Um, I will say in my what makes a great kaiju figure video, I mentioned that my favorite scale is like that 3 to 5 inch range, 4 inches there. This guy fits in that scale well. I really love this scale, but I think this scale with this quality of a figure will make for greatness, in my opinion, for any figure, especially kaiju figures. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's a thing in the community, or overall, they think like, bigger is better. I don't think so. Uh, as a kid, I loved just having something that can fit nice in my hand, just like that. And being an adult now, as adult as I can be playing with figures, but as an adult now, this fits nice in my hand. But having something that fits a little nicer, it's like a little thing. Doesn't take as much space either, which space is very important to a kaiju collector. You're not a real kaiju collector, figure collector, unless you run out of space at one point or another. Um, and so here we go. 2004. Very good first impressions, I'd say. Still gotta figure out how to switch that mouth part, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Unless Godzilla destroys it. Also, I may be updating you guys. I might do a bit of a vlog series soon. I want to do something to commemorate this because I might be getting an opportunity to do something in a more official scope with Godzilla. I'm hoping to land this opportunity. I'll see tomorrow where it goes, but I think either way, I will still be documenting this experience. Let's see. So I have that going for me. Excuse me, because I think in a few of my other streams, or maybe one other stream, and one where I was on the Zimcast from Zimzilla 99. I was talking to people about Little Tokyo and how great of a place that is for finding kaiju collectibles, stuff like that, both vintage and new. Um, Not for the great prices, but more so for the great finds. Um, as in, you will be able to find great stuff there. Um, but yeah, they actually do lots of pop up events, and that is where the official Godzilla store is. So if you're an LA local, definitely check it out if you're like a kaiju fan and an LA local, because you're more than likely gonna have a great time there, and it'll just mm, be a great time to check it out. Since I think there's lots of stuff coming soon. All right. So now that we got those two out of the way, we're gonna do the Super 7 Super Kaiju Godzilla 89, as you can see in there. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. And now this guy, I think, has caused a bit of a stir on the Kaiju Twit community, Goji Twit, whatever you call it. Like, what is it? Kaiju Twit, Goji Twit. There's crossover, I know that, but like, what is the Twitter? Because I know there's Ultraman Twitter. Those guys are nuts. There's, I don't know, a bunch of different bubbles. Ew. Woo. Hello. Sorry about that, guys. Where's my webcam? There you go. I guess things went down for a little bit, but back online faster than usual. Maybe there's a new record there, but as I was saying, basically, I forget. Hmm. But yeah. Oh yeah, caused a bit of uproar online because I think there were some unflattering angles, maybe of this guy. But I also thought the sculpt was a pretty weird one to say. Seeing it in hand, I was compelled to get it because it looked pretty cool. And I say for a retail price, I think I got it pretty much at a pretty good price. I mean, I definitely gotta use some rewards. Always use your rewards. Always sign up for things if it's free. Um, Rewards will always come back to bite you in the end because you know good deals. But basically, with Super 7, I was pretty surprised to see this guy. Like I've seen these new Bandai ones popping up places. Haven't seen the Godzilla Monster series pop up as of yet, but I've seen around that they've been popping up, like on Twitter and stuff. Um, and basically, when it comes to that, like I knew these guys were coming out. I didn't know how soon they were coming out. Because again, I think they are relatively new. I just picked this up tonight. We have the Godzilla 89, right? And then you have the 93. That kind of pisses me off because one of my favorite designs is Godzilla 93 from the Super Mega Godzilla 2 movie. I don't know why, if you're gonna put out Mechagodzilla 2, why not Godzilla 93? Because that's one of my favorite designs. I really love him. Apparently, not many people do, which is a shock to me. But yeah, it's the 89, which is Biollante, right? Don't quote me on that, but you're not a true Godzilla fan if you've never gotten 1 year wrong. Um, but we're gonna open up this guy now, and like I was saying, I'm pretty sure there was some conflicting opinions about the design of the figure. I think because of just the yeah, as in rocking the face cam, but uh, uh, basically, yeah, I think people were off put by the design. I'm pretty sure, um, like just a lot of people are talking about it. Um, and with Super Seven, there's like a lot of drama, I think, because the prototypes they come out with, or even before the prototypes, like the renders, because I'm pretty sure they're all renders whenever they first come out, and those always look pretty good. But sometimes when they come out, they aren't as well received. Like I think the latest thing with the Super 7 one, I want to say the Super 7 one, not to put anything bad in their mouths, because I think they're really good people. I just don't like a lot of the decisions they make with the figures, especially the have I got on here? Like I love their in concept, I love their reaction figures. I love this Baragon. I think this flawless Baragon. Likeness, playability, overall enjoyment of it. I think it passes all the tiers of my like perfect Godzilla figure criteria. Yeah, Baragon. There you go. Nice to look at that there. I also got. Let me find that. I basically got a box and some boxes of Godzilla figures. And I also will be doing a comparison of some of these figures with one figure that I think is again, I think on an all rounder is a great kaiju figure. I can't find it, but I have the and again I'm probably gonna get the Godzilla Raids Again figure. The one thing I do not like about those reaction figures for the Super 7 line is the Godzilla tails are way too small. I do not like that they are small. They are basically all super short and stubby, and I do not like that on any figure when the proportions are wonky like that. All right, guys. But yeah, it's the sculpts are amazing for the most part. Some of them are a little wonky, a little cartoonish. The stylization is not entirely there, but like the Raids Again Godzilla, I think that one is a great sculpt. Aside from the tail, great figure, which lowers it down for me. Where there it comes with the building. I believe Mecha Godzilla comes with another one. Uh, I'm not sure if it like forms together with this one. This one's a little has like debris on the top and is like half crushed. Uh, yeah, adding Baragon in the next Monsterverse movie. Uh, I want to say unlikely, but it would make a lot of sense. It would be really fun to see. Like I think it would have to be Legendary would have to like really bank on letting a director go all out in like a Final Wars kind of way. Because okay, there's only two films in the MonsterVerse where we get Toho characters, and they were both uh event films. We had King of the Monsters, where you basically had uh for the fans, it was like a remake of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, where you have the monsters come together for like the first time and they take on Ghidorah. Um, and then for the general audiences, it was just like an upping of the stakes. And you had these fan favorite characters. And I assume Legendary was probably just banking on the fact that having that many monsters in the movie of like the main cast of monsters was probably maybe not a good gamble because that movie did for the most part or for the least part, for better or for worse, it generally did underperform in the sense that it didn't make as much money as people wanted, like the studio or the fans. Yeah. Ooh, cameo from Biolante. I also did a short opening up a few of these guys. Biolante was in there. She's really cool. Is it weird? I think these are better painted than most of the figures I've unboxed tonight. Yeah, I did see. I want to put quote an asterisk with still alive because all I saw was her head in like a tank, and I saw people talking about her having regeneration powers, which I guess, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I think it could be pretty cool if they explain it the right way because I think the whole idea with Ghidorah is that his regeneration was like freakishly unnatural. Like even the Rick, he's like, oh, it's not part of the natural world. We've never seen something like that. Um, but I think it could be cool. I would love to see her come back. And like when I say her, I mean like specifically her. Yeah, I saw that too. Honestly, I don't know what was going on in the panels. Um, I just saw Tiamat looking at like um, a pink smoke coming out from somewhere, which I'm assuming is the pink substance that Godzilla and herself were consuming in the Arctic region. Um, because if you're a Godzilla Kong New Empire fan like me, you'll know that through the visual storytelling, that film was able to accurately lead you in a way to where, oh, Godzilla's absorbing more and more radiation, which is causing heat to build up. The solar winds that place accumulates lets Godzilla evolve in a way to where he's able to handle all that heat coming in. Yeah, I saw the big starfish kaiju too. Not gonna lie, they probably copied my design for Stargore. If anyone follows my Twitter, I have an original kaiju, Stargore. He's basically a starfish kaiju. Um, but yeah, I think starfish kaiju are pretty. They're gonna be a pretty cool thing. I look forward to. I might pick that comic up. Just because it seems pretty cool. I do not like when kaiju figures have the little whatchamacallit plastic elastic wires. I think they're a pain. Sure, they refuse our names of starfish. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I mean, think about it like this, Tiamat and Dominion, I believe, gave Godzilla a run for his money when they were underwater. If Tiamat can defeat whatever that is underwater, it makes sense because I mean, if she can give Godzilla a run for his money underwater, then she's very powerful. Um, I'm assuming Tiamat defeats it because we obviously still see her in New Empire. Um, and then I think we see in the comic panel she pretty much like destroys him. And then when it comes to just the feats there, I mean, if the fight is prolonged, then I guess the Starfish was a pretty good contender, but ultimately didn't prevail in the end. And I guess you can put it like I doubt the Starfish could really beat Godzilla. Um, because I mean, Godzilla, whenever he faces, I assume the reason Godzilla defeated Tiamat as easily as he did in that movie is because he was storing up the energy. That's what I took away from him. To where basically, because he was storing up all that energy, he was becoming energized Godzilla. I think he was only a few steps away from going burning mode again. Because the way I um realize it in my head is that Godzilla Evolved is essentially burning Godzilla, but he can control it. Um, and I say that because the reason he evolves is so that he can combat Shimo's ice powers. Um, when they fight, you can see that when Godzilla heats up, it melts and allows him to break through the ice. Um, I think some people confuse like the scene where he explodes from the ice as a like an EMP or a shock wave. It's not. It's visually you can see the ice like steam and melt, and he just flexes and he breaks away from it. There's no whenever he does the nuclear pulse, um, you can see it. When he does it in King of the Monsters, you can see that he is unleashing a shockwave of that energy. Like in that scene, it has the pattern of Mothra's wings, and like I'm pretty sure it's implied that Mothra is the only reason he survived that is because her energy combined with Godzilla's was able to contain himself and unleash the energy without killing him. And essentially, like I said, evolved Godzilla is basically burning Godzilla, but he can control it and he no longer needs the excess energy. His body can just handle it. Um, I'm just turning to the GXK stream, but um, I love GXK. I can talk about it all day. It's a great movie. It's one of those things where, like I said before, in spite of something's flaws, I think it can still be good. This dinosaur collection toy tomorrow, but my King Kong figure. Oh no! King Kong high figure got canceled. Why is that? Uh, I've never known Haya to be anything but pretty good with its orders. Um, I see it hyped up a lot. I love the Hayashimo way better than the SH figure arts. I said earlier in the stream, the shoulders on the SH figure arts are disgusting. On the Haya, it's a simple ball joint, it looks like. It was on the way to China. Yeah, they're like a Chinese company. Um, yeah, I guess it is imports. Or I guess they have a system or account there. Similar to Bai, maybe? Maybe not. Okay, this is weird. I'm fidgeting with the toy now, just 'cause I finally got it out of the box. And I'm just scoping it out. I'm gonna put in the light. Oh, you're not a real Godzilla collector if you've never looked into the eyes of your Godzilla figures and wondered where the hell is he looking at. I don't know if you can see that, but his eyes, for the most part, are pretty okay. When it comes to Godzilla figures, you always gotta check the eyes. I guess you can say he's looking straight on. That's way better than I don't even think I mentioned it, but the Super 7, um, yeah, I think it was the Super 7, minus Goji. Some of their eyes were a little defective, or one was looking way off. I wanna say it happened more with the black and white one, the minus color version, more than the color. I think the color ones were pretty good with the eye placement on that one. Um, I think it's hit or miss with those few of the figures, honestly, because I think some of their stuff is great work. Looking at this here, uh, looks pretty good. Like, I have no real complaints. Looking at it in the light, it looked a little bit drawing at first, but I think it's typical of Godzilla figures just to have some weird eye placement. Only because when you think about Godzilla, I mean, come on, since 54, he's had some weird eyes. Um, supposed to be shit, but didn't come for a week. I seen Godzilla toys with goofy eyes. Yep. Yeah, I've seen that too. Uh, uh, hmm. Open. So this guy actually comes with like a bendy wire tail. Uh, which I say, depending on the quality of wire, I'm just scared of bendy wire tails. Only because whenever I've played with bendy wire toys, like they always eventually pop out of the rubber. Yeah, but yeah, wire tail is interesting. I looked at it in the box and I assumed it was like, hey, don't tell me it's already popping. I don't know. I probably won't mess with it too much. Painting is actually really nice. Painting is nice. I'll show it off in the stream. Painting's pretty good. Like it might look like it stops at the end there, but the paint, there's a little airbrush detail, I think. It goes all the way to the end. It's like a clear cutoff when it fades out. Larsa plates are pretty cool. Another thing that bummed me out, since this is 86, I don't like the 86 design. At least a few of the earlier ones. Like I said, I love 93 and maybe like the next year. I forget what it was. The Space Godzilla one. I like Space Godzilla design. I think there's only like a few changes from it. But for some reason in 93, I just like how he looks. Like I think he looks some of his best there. I love the action sequences in that movie. The tokusatsu fights and all that. Let's see. So it looks like here. There's a few knee joint, ankle stuff. Maybe swivel can be. I don't know if that's a swivel, but hmm, got some good reach on that. Oh, I see. 12:01. Today is now Saturday. Time zone strike again because it's only 9:01 for me. Stream slip balance. No, doesn't look like the wrists do anything, but well, actually, there's no wrist joint at all. I thought there was a wrist joint on this thing, but there you go. Ah, Godzilla. I once got a guy come into my shop. He was buying a I'm gonna say LeBron Michael Jordan, LeBron James pop, and he was getting a Godzilla pop, one of the new ones that just released a while ago. And I was like, oh, this reminds me of the Charles Barkley ad that they did with Godzilla. And it was just funny to see. But honestly, let's see, what do I think? In terms of the sculpt and the stance he's in, I think it's not too bad. Holding it in person, it definitely I think it's always good to save some of your impressions for when you hold them in hand and actually see them face to face. Because looking at a lot of the pictures that you saw online, um, like yeah, some things looked off. Like the proportions might be a little funny. Some of the sculpting choices may be a little weird, but let's see. Holding him here, I'm just doing this way because I have a bunk bed desk setup. You probably know what I'm talking about. So it's dark in there outside of like my turtle tank light. Um, but honestly, it's not too bad, not too shabby. I don't think. Um, Painting is pretty dang good. Um, for a lot of the part because like look at those nice nails. The mouth and teeth are like all very nicely painted. That nice dark red, almost a burgundy-ish. Sculpting is pretty spot on. I like the detail. He feels very good. Um, Maybe a little stiff, not bad stiff, but stiff as to where like if you need to put some work in, like that grip strength, you need that grip strength to move his shoulders here. This one's got a head swivel. The other one had like a ball joint. This one's just like a little swivel. It's a nice swivel. But like I was saying, I don't need all the articulation in the world. Um, for a kaiju figure, I don't need a head swivel. To have one is nice. It's mostly like the toy photography guys, I guess, who I respect the art of it because a lot of that stuff is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool. The dorsal plates, like I was saying, like 86 is not my favorite design. I think it has like I don't think this is accurate to the 86 design in any outstanding way, other than maybe like the general placement of it, which like I said, I don't like. Like I have the little mini, even smaller than like this, like the little blind boxes that I did a little while ago. Like even those, like that one had a better accuracy than like this guy. But um in terms of like a general Godzilla figure, I think it's pretty cool. All right, so that's our last unboxing there. And now we're just gonna do a big general comparison of all the figures we got here. Shout out to the peeps in the show right now. So first one we got was the Godzilla Monster Series, the new figures that just came out, Godzilla 54. Nice final figure. I'd say for this one, I think the best thing about it is the scale because I love smaller scale figures. Fit right in my hand, and they're pretty decent. Paint is pretty cool. Nothing outstanding. Nice dorsal plates. Uh, the eyes are pretty cool. I think this one's better painted, only just because it doesn't have like some weird white spot on its head, like the regular movie Monster Series figure, like that. I don't know what that is. Godzilla with frosted tips. What is this? Trolls? Um, no, but that guy's still pretty cool. Nice detail. But here we have this guy. Scale, I really liked. Um, but yeah, standard vinyl figure. And now we got this guy, Godzilla 2004 from the new one of the new Bandai series. I don't know what's Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco. Like with some of these, I don't even know like I think this one and that one are the same company. Bandai Namco. They're putting out some I want to say great stuff overall. But let's see here. So this guy, I want to say the feel for this guy, I think, is one of my favorite things. Um, Articulation, sure, I think he's a little better articulated than the Super 7 one. The mouth is better on the Super 7 one. The joint action, I think, is great. No, maybe a little too loose in some places, but it is what it is. Um, 2004 Final Wars Goji. Now we have Super 7. I want to say, well, obviously the Super 7 was the most expensive figure of the bunch. Um, the first one, the Godzilla Monster Series one, ran me $12. This guy, the Final Wars 24. This guy at 33. No, 35. And I want to say, having them all in hand, it makes sense as to why. I think in general, all of these are quality figures for what they are. There are things about this one that I wish was more like the Final Wars Godzilla I have here. I say that because I could have been fine without the bendy wire tail. When you have a bendy wire tail, I want to see that thing bent. I am too scared to bend this thing in any sort of way to where like it might break or it might wear down or the wire might act all finicky. Um, but like if this guy had like a regular tail like the Final Wars one, and maybe it was like a few, I don't know, what's like less than a pound? I forget. but weighed a few pounds smaller. I'll say that just because I don't know what's less than a pound. Ounces? Like ounces, I think. When I say ounces, I think that's a smaller unit than to weigh this thing. This thing's what? Not even a pound. I bet. It should be scale figures. That would be a fun thing to do. But this guy is definitely lighter than Super Saiyan figure. I want to say it's because of that quality of plastic. I think this guy has some good quality plastic in him. Mm. See, that's the thing. The thing I don't like about the Playmates toys is that the plastic they use for the Godzilla figures, I think is super flimsy. And not flimsy in a way that it probably would break if you put some real tough love on it. Um, but if you look at any of their Kong figures, any of their Skarkings, Shimo, I think, might have been the middle ground, but even she still had the tacky tap tap plastic body, which is what I don't like about the Godzillas. But the Tiamat, the recent Tiamat, the plastic on her was great. Um, I don't know. It's just like that tap tap plastic. Like this guy has it. I don't know if you can hear that. Just think that back to that video of that Transformers guy tapping the plastic. But when I tap this plastic, the tap of it feels sturdier than any of the Playmates Godzillas. This guy, the body is made of that like same plastic. Some of the limbs feel a little bit tougher. Um, but in terms of like the plastic, these guys feel all right. I like this better than any of the Playmates Godzillas. And you might say, "Oh, yeah, price range, man. Think about it. These are for kids." But like I don't see why a kid would have any less fun with this, or would deserve any less than this. Because I think, like I said, if you're like a big company, if you're one of the big ones like Hasbro, Mattel, um, like the biggies, I think you can make a great quality figure and not have to worry about it being shown to kids, um, or played well by kids. Um, like for Mattel, for the Jurassic World figures that they're doing, I think any figure from that line is better quality than any and all of the Godzilla Playmates figures. I say that because the paint for those, even for figures around the same price range, the paint's better, the detail is better, and the overall likeness and quality is better. Um, like if you go by size, maybe some of the size of the figures are pretty. Um, I think it makes sense as quality wise. But if you look at a smaller figure, the quality isn't a downgrade. The quality is the same as like a Jurassic World Velociraptor, as one of the standard line T-Rexes. The quality is the same. It's not like just because it costs less, it's lesser quality. That's what I'm saying. It makes sense that this figure feels less expensive than the Super 7 one. Part and due to the feel of the plastic, the heftiness, and some of the way the paint and detail is done. This one is very toyetic. Now, toyetic typically means like how much you can get out of a franchise when it comes to toys. I'm using toyetic in the sense that it would make more sense for a kid to play with this than to play with this, whereas this is something that Super 7 is typically aimed at adult collectors. It makes sense for an adult to get this for the purposes of toy photography, having something simple to fidget with on the shelf, something like that. Like this is no way close to a high-end statue figure, something like a McFarlane figure. Um, this is more toyetic than any McFarlane figure, but you can still tell it's a high quality toy. This one is a good quality toy. Um, but like I said, there's stuff about this that I like better than this. I would have liked to seen a standard tail like this on a figure like this. This one just has a bending wire that you don't get much out of the bend. Um, I guess this is more of a semi-review because I'm talking about the figures, than just unboxing them. But, I'm not talking so much about this guy because this guy fulfills his needs as a soft vinyl figure. Um, you know, like this is just a nice toy too, but you get more out of this because there's more articulation. I know I said that like articulation isn't everything, and I mean that. Um, like if this guy didn't have knee joints or the ankle joints, I think it would be just as good. If this guy didn't have like the wrists or those, oh yeah, that's funny. This guy doesn't have wrist joints. The width isn't all that different. Could have had some wrist joints or a swivel, something like that. This guy goes the extra mile. You can do it's a ball joint. Actually, I really like the claws on this one. Claws are cool. There's paint on the claws. I don't know if I picked it up, but yeah. So when it comes to what I think is the best figure, I think the best action figure definitely goes to this guy, uh, 2004 Bandai Namco Godzilla. Simply because it feels great to fidget with. It has some nice sounds to it. ASMR much. Um, I'm not into ASMR, but I am into satisfying sounds. I don't know if that covers under ASMR, but I love the sounds a figure can make. I don't know if it's picking that up. Yeah, this is the most toyetic figure of the bunch. I can play with this. I can fidget. You can give this to a kid and they'll have a blast. Um, if they're a real kid, I mean, because like kids these days play with their phones, iPads, stuff. Maybe that's why toys took just a dip because they're losing to the iPad wars. That's the next plot of the next Toy Story film. Maybe we can get more kids on the toy bandwagon, but that's why they're all going to the adults. But yeah, great figure, action figure. When it comes to this is higher end, but it loses points in my eyes because I wish it had stuff that the Final Wars one has, like the regular standard tail with a little bit of the joints. Um, this guy's heavy-ish, and the joints are a little stiffer, so it's not that fun to fidget with, which is what I do with my figures. I feel like I get this guy in any pose, but and that doesn't make any of these figures bad. I think these are all great figures for what they are, and great figures all around. But like, I think the intention with these was to make them more toyetic than the Super 7 Ultimates. And now with that, that makes sense. That makes sense for what I have in my hand right here. And like I said, the shots of the figures online cause some commotion, but in hand, I think they're pretty good. I don't see the proportions being that weird. What's that thing? The camera adds 10 pounds? The camera adds weird proportions. I don't know if it shows up on this camera, but I think it's pretty good. I think Super 7 did a good job with this one. Um, Now again, there's things I wish this thing did that the 2004 one did that I released a little earlier this year. This one's definitely more toyetic on the side, but like I wish this tail was like on this figure, just because I don't like the or I'm not a huge fan of the bendy wire in this, because like you don't get much bend. Like when you think of Heisei Godzilla, you think of that super long bendy tail, but this is like a stub finger on a. This is like a stubby finger on a Godzilla figure. It almost runs into the same problem I have with the reaction figures, where the reaction figures will have like, this is a bad example because I love it on this figure because I think it's overall proportional to the figure itself and the character Baragon. Um, but like the Godzillas have a super stubby tail just cause, and I don't like that. It's almost ironic that this guy runs into that same thing. Right? It's Heisei Godzilla. Heisei Godzilla, I think, is probably one of the most known for outside of Shin Godzilla. Even some of the Showa Godzilla, sure, but Heisei Godzilla, you know, he has that big tail. There's scenes in my favorite film of the Heisei ones, '93, where he whacks things with his tail. But here it's just like a little thing. I don't think you get the most out of the bendy wire. I mean, just look at these things side by side. Oh wait, wrong one. Well, even there, look, the tail's nice and curved. Mm. And this thing, you don't get much of that bendy wire, which the purpose of a bendy wire is to have that bendable curvature tail. You get more curve out of this. And like, yeah, it's just a typical tail. It has some nice leg to it. This is just like a stud. Like that's a pretty weird proportion thing. But like the body itself, I think it's very cool. High quality figure. This one's more toyetic, but it does things I like more than the higher quality figure. And again, like I said, this guy, $12, 24, at least for a good for a good retail price, $24. I've seen these things inflated up the ass because, to get the license to sell these guys, you have to make your money back. It's a lot of expenses. And that's a problem you see with the Godzilla store in Little Tokyo. I love that store. Great people, but the prices are whacked. Um, cool stuff though. And yeah, like it's just that. Like I was saying before, I don't think it takes that much to make a good quality figure. Um, like with anything, as a consumer, you'll see decisions that you wonder why they did that. Like I have to wonder why did they decide to give this guy a bendy wire for a tail that doesn't really bend that much. Like you can make an L and then you can do a little curve, but I can't do that without fear of going too far to where I'll either pop it out of the socket, which I don't even know if you're supposed to, or of damaging the wire inside. So you just have to ask yourself, why would you do this? What is the purpose of this? Like when you think of any other bendy figure, you get that thing to bend. This thing doesn't really bend in the way that a Godzilla tail should. Everyone knows the classic Godzilla tail swing. That thing's gonna swing till the cows come home. Another figure with an issue that I think has that is the Otachi figure from McFarlane Toys. I've said before, I love this toy. In spite of the flaws that its tail doesn't get as much bend out of the wire, I love it for its toyness. I think it has some of that, like it meets most of the three standards that I have for what makes a great kaiju action figure, and that's like the likeness, playability, overall appeal. I don't even know if that third one is part of the three standards. I forget what my standards were. I made that video a while ago. Go watch it though. That way you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about why I like some of these figures over the others. But like the bending wire here, I'm scared to move this one because the wire is so short. I'm scared it'll pop off easily. And the plastic they made for this thing, it creases the like hard details of the figure of the sculpt, and you can see like the crease marks, the stretch marks, stuff like that. This figure, when you get it, it comes with like its tail is curved around, which is a bad move because I have a few friends who are in the you know prop making industry, and one of the things I heard was like you will always sculpt a um maquette or statue in the most neutral pose so that when it bends or stretches, it'll be natural. It's one of the reasons the Predator sculpts. If you know Cordery Effects on YouTube, he has that video about the Predator mouths. Um, what the first films they always sculpt the mouth closed, the mandibles, because you want to get that stretch when it opens the mouth, and then that close when the mouth is closed, you want it to like squash and stretch, squash back into place, and it doesn't feel like it's loose. Like a lot of, I think I forget if Predator 2 had it, but the later Predator films and the AVP films have that issue. Um, where the mouths when they close, they sort of either sag or they are open. But this figure here has that issue where because it was sculpted, I guess, with a bent tail, when you bend it or stretch it, the crease marks appear. And that's not the issue with this one. The issue is this one is just too stubby and it's too short. Um, so you don't get a lot of motion for the bend. So why make it a bendy figure? That's just my 2 cents. All right, now we come to the part where we have the comparison between each of two, which one I think is the one of the best ones of the bunch, which is this guy. Now we're gonna compare it to a figure that I think meets the criteria again, and that's the Trendmasters camera figure. This is a loose guy that I got. I do have one in box right over there. Yeah, right there in box. Cost me 100 big ones. This guy was like half as much because he's loose. Which I was super happy to find because I really wanted a loose one. But Gamma's probably one of the rarest ones in the line. You could find any Yaos, any Grarion or whatever knife guy. You can find any of them. Super expensive still, but it is what it is. But yeah, this guy, like I said, likeness, playability, overall appeal. Like that's what I want in a figure. And comparing it to just this, again, scale. The best thing this thing can compare to is this. Look at that. You have like a nice Godzilla versus Gamera. Mm, webcams for Anakin. But yeah, look, Godzilla versus Gamera. And there you go. Nicely scaled figures. Fit right in my hand. They're fun to fidget with. This one more so just because it has those joints. Vinyl figures, I don't ask the most of them when it comes to articulation. There's a nice little piece they can like toy around with. But this one is most similar to this one because this one was always a toy. Um, I think not until like the original Spawn McFarlane figures were these were toys ever a high-end collectible. But these guys are very toyetic. Okay, this one came with a rocket blast. I think you can make a Godzilla figure like this with a rocket firing atomic breath piece. It would make sense for this figure, but like I said, and this one, it's toy quality, but toy quality doesn't mean bad quality. Like I said, you can have a higher priced figure, the same quality as a lower priced figure. Like, I'd say if this was a higher priced figure and this was a lower priced figure in the same line, let's say it was just a smidge bigger. These guys are actually pretty good scale too, which actually is really great. I actually really like that. This figure's got skill going for it too. I'm gonna say that. Like it's the same size as yeah. So yeah, this one's got scale on it too. Bring it back to reaction. Do I like reaction scale better than this scale? I don't know. I'd be happy with either or. I tend to like smaller figures though. Like I love minifigures, blind box minifigures. Let me see if I have one offhand. Like a recent one I just got were the little Funko mystery minis. These guys are cool. I think they're cooler as like display toys. I don't really play with these things just because they're cool. I love having them around, but you know, so comparing it to this, I think this would be a little less quality than this. Um, but if I compare it to this, I think it wouldn't be too far off. I think it would be similar quality. I think it's just because, well, one, this is like a second hand figure out of the box loose. I think if I had like if I opened that one up that I have boxed, I think it'd be a little bit of a different story, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see these guys in the same line. If this was like a higher quality figure and like a different scale line than this one. But I think that'll be it. We're going on 120 hours. 1 hour 20 minutes. Um so I think I'll end it there. Just one more showcase of everything we got in the order we opened them in. The Godzilla Monster Series new Godzilla 54. Very good toy. The Bandai Namco, I don't know what the line is, but Godzilla 2004 Final Wars. Really good figure. I think my favorite of the bunch. And then we got, of course, the Super 7 Super Kaiju Godzilla 89. Very good figure as well. Good quality figure all around. I think, in spite of like what the promotional images show, I think it's a pretty darn good figure. So I would recommend if you're into the Super 7 stuff, if you're into the Super 7 stuff and you haven't got too many of their ultimates, and you see this guy at your Target and you're thinking of picking him up, I would recommend it. I would recommend it, in spite of the little thing there, because I don't think it's a toy killer. Like I'm not like I just say that I like this. No, I don't like this as much as I like this. But I think as a figure, if you want to have this guy in your collection, I would recommend picking him up. If you like what you see here, if that tail doesn't bother you, like it doesn't bother me, but just because this feels like a higher quality toy than this guy, I wouldn't be playing too much with him as I would him, you know? Like I would have this guy offhand to fidget with more than with this guy. This guy would be like for any particular session of like if I wanted to take cool pictures of it, if I wanted to like just mess with it, I would mess with this guy more than this guy. This guy's like I put him on my shelf. He looks cool. He's nifty. Um, I can grab him from time to time. This guy I'll have offhand on my desk, and I'll grab him, play with him, fidget while I'm watching something. Maybe while I'm sit here with my DVD player watching Godzilla Final Wars. I grab him, I fidget, I reenact the scenes when they come on, and I just watch it with my bucket of popcorn, as any Godzilla fan, should be able to do. But there you go. There's all the figures I'm unboxing. Maybe I'll do a review for each. Maybe a more in-depth comparison of them. But I think I got my general points across here. I might do a few shorts on them. Uh, Again, look forward to some of the more content you'll be seeing here on the channel. Um, some things that may be coming up. Anyways, big thank you for everyone who joined. Shout out to Zim who popped in earlier. Monster X Nerd. Um, Thanks for anyone else who came and stopped by. I saw people coming in and out. Um, not we don't get too much traction here on the channel as of yet, but always good to see my friends come around. Um, when this thing goes on, leave a comment below what you guys thought when you stop by and watch the video playback. Um, my name is Vic. Um, this is the Kaijunaut channel. um, where we basically talk about all things kaiju, Japan, anime, stuff like that. I do have commissions open as I am a kaiju creature character illustrator and character designer. I have commissions open up on my Ko-fi page, Vic Monstrous. Same goes for my recently acquired VGen account. I am on VGen. I have the same services open there for kaiju and creature and character design commissions. If you want your OC kaiju or character drawn up by me, um, you can shoot me a request on there, or I think direct purchase a commission from there. Um, I do all sorts of pin-up design work for characters or character sheets that I'm going to be doing soon. I'll probably do one for kaiju as well. Um, Follow me on Twitter at Vic's Monstrosities or Vic Monstrous. Either or should be fine for you to find me there. You can see all my work there. If you like my style and want to support me, it would mean a lot. And check out my stuff. Anyways, thank you, Kaiju Seekers, for coming on to see my unboxing of these three Kaiju figures, Godzilla figures. If you liked any of these figures, I definitely recommend going to your local Target, Walmart. You'll find better prices there. Um, Also check out any other like general retail stores. Those guys will have these guys for good prices up there. Again, I got all these guys at Target, so hit up your local Targets and get your deals in. Thank you very much who came on again, and have a good night, guys. I will see you guys next time on the channel. Um, until then, thank you very much.